Have you ever stopped and asked yourself why he seems so warm one day, then suddenly distant the next? Or maybe he remembers the smallest things you told him, yet he still struggles to open up about how he really feels? You're not imagining it. There is a reason behind this behavior, and it's much more connected to psychology than most people think. Welcome back. Today we're taking a closer look inside the male mind to understand the surprising patterns men show when they secretly have deep feelings for someone. But here's the interesting part. These behaviors are not about manipulation. They are not simply signs of immaturity either. They come from the way emotions and self-protection often work together. When a man truly cares about a woman, he doesn't always express it in the direct way people expect. Instead of admitting his feelings immediately, he may quietly test the situation, stay a little mysterious, or even pull back for a moment just to notice how you respond. It may sound confusing, but very often it's a sign that his emotions are stronger than he knows how to handle. He wants to protect his pride while still keeping the connection alive. Here's something many people don't realize. Men often experience love differently. They don't usually begin with emotional words. They begin with actions, careful observation, and a lot of thoughts happening beneath the surface. What looks like a game is often a mix of curiosity, caution, attraction, and emotional uncertainty. In this video, we're going to uncover 6 fascinating psychological behaviors men often show, many of them without even realizing it, when they are deeply attracted to someone. These are not the usual signs you've heard 100 times before. These behaviors come from real emotional patterns that influence how people connect. So, if you're tired of overthinking every text, every pause, and every mixed signal, stay with me because what comes next could completely change the way you understand his actions. And trust me, the last few points are often the ones people overlook the most. You won't want to miss them. You've probably heard about mirroring when people talk about body language. But what if I told you that a man who is genuinely falling for you often mirrors much more than just your physical movements? This goes much deeper than most people realize. When a man feels a strong emotional connection, his subconscious naturally begins matching yours in quiet and unexpected ways. Without planning it, he may slowly copy your tone, your favorite expressions, your sense of humor, even the way you text. This is not something he's doing on purpose. It's not a clever trick or a planned strategy. It's a natural psychological response that happens when people begin forming emotional bonds. Mirroring has been part of human behavior for a very long time. It helps people build trust, create comfort, and silently communicate, "I understand you, I'm with you." When a man is becoming emotionally invested, this process often happens without him even noticing it. If you're energetic and expressive, you may see him becoming more playful, using more emojis, or matching your excitement in conversations. If you're calm, thoughtful, and quiet, he may naturally slow down his speech, soften his tone, and become more patient as he talks with you. But this pattern doesn't end with words. Pay close attention when you're together around other people. If you lean forward while talking, does he naturally lean closer too? If you smile, does his face quickly reflect yours? If you cross your arms or shift your posture, does he unconsciously do something similar? These tiny reactions may seem meaningless at first, but together they reveal something much deeper. His mind and body are quietly adjusting to your presence because emotional connection often begins long before someone finds the courage to say exactly how they feel. Keep watching because the next behavior is even more surprising and reveals something many people completely misunderstand. And yes, this happens much more often when his feelings become strong. Now, here's what makes this so fascinating. Men don't unconsciously mirror everyone they meet. They usually reflect the people they feel emotionally comfortable with or those who deeply capture their attention. So, if you notice him picking up your little habits, repeating your favorite expressions, enjoying the same songs you like, or even laughing in a similar way, don't dismiss it as coincidence. It's often a quiet sign that he's emotionally connected to you. Without realizing it, he's beginning to match your world on both a mental and emotional level because somewhere inside, he already feels close to you. But there's another layer that many people never notice, and it's emotional mirroring. Think about this for a moment. When you're feeling down, Does he suddenly become quieter or more thoughtful, even though you never explained exactly why you're upset? When you're excited about something, does his mood lift too, even if he doesn't fully understand what you're celebrating? That's emotional connection happening beneath the surface. His emotions begin moving with yours, creating a silent rhythm between both of you. This kind of empathy is difficult to fake because it comes naturally when someone truly cares. Most men aren't even aware they're doing it. Their emotions simply start responding to yours without any conscious effort. But it's important not to confuse real mirroring with pretending. This isn't someone copying your personality just to impress you. Genuine mirroring happens without planning. It grows naturally when two people become emotionally connected. That's why it feels so effortless and surprisingly intimate. So pay attention to whether it keeps happening over time. Anyone can accidentally copy someone once or twice, but when a man truly likes you, these small reflections become consistent. Before long, you'll notice conversations flowing more easily, both of you laughing at the same jokes, finishing each other's thoughts, or wanting the same things without needing to explain them. And here's something most people never hear. Mirroring is often one of the earliest signs that deeper feelings are beginning to grow. Long before he fully understands what he's feeling, his mind and body have already started adjusting to your presence. It's almost as if his emotions recognize the connection before his thoughts could explain it. So the next time you're wondering whether he's genuinely interested, don't focus only on his words. Watch the quiet ways he reflects you. If he slowly feels more familiar, more connected, and more naturally in sync with you, it may not be your imagination at all. It could be one of the clearest signs that his feelings are already becoming much deeper. Stay with me because the next behavior reveals an even stronger clue, and most people completely miss it. Another behavior that many people misunderstand is something I like to call selective vulnerability. A man who is quietly falling for you doesn't suddenly tell you every secret or pour out every emotion like you see in movies. Real life usually looks much quieter than that. Instead, he shares small pieces of himself little by little. Only when he feels there is enough trust and emotional safety. He may tell you a story from his past that very few people know. He might mention a personal disappointment, an old mistake, or a fear he usually keeps hidden. These moments are not random conversations. They're careful steps toward emotional closeness. In many ways, he's gently testing whether his feelings will be accepted or rejected. If you respond with understanding instead of judgment, he slowly begins opening more doors to his inner world. One conversation becomes two. One personal story becomes another. That's how real trust often grows. What makes this so meaningful is that many men spend years believing they should hide their emotional side. They're often taught to stay strong, stay confident, and never let anyone see uncertainty. Because of that, sharing something deeply personal is not a small step. It's one of the strongest signals that he respects you, feels safe with you, and hopes the connection can become something much deeper than simple attraction. You may notice this happening in quiet ways. Maybe he casually mentions struggling with confidence at an old job, talks about a difficult family experience, admits he once felt like he wasn't good enough, or tells you about a time when life didn't go the way he hoped. He may even reveal an insecurity he rarely speaks about. These moments are incredibly important because he isn't looking for pity. He's quietly asking one question without saying the words. Can I truly be myself with you? And how you respond to those moments often shapes how willing he becomes to open his heart even further. Keep watching because the next sign becomes even more surprising, and it reveals a part of male psychology that many people never fully understand. He's sharing those moments to understand whether he feels emotionally safe with you. He's quietly watching your response. Do you brush it aside? Do you change the subject? Or do you stay present, really listen, and make him feel understood without judging him? That's what he's trying to discover. Selective vulnerability also appears in another quiet way. It shows up when he lets his guard down only around you. Maybe everyone else knows him as the confident guy who always jokes around, stays calm, and seems completely in control. But when the two of you are alone, you meet a different side of him. he becomes more thoughtful. He talks about his dreams, his worries, the choices he regrets, and the possibilities that still live in his mind. That's the version of himself very few people ever get to see. And here's something many people miss. He may never directly say the words, "I love you," or openly confess his feelings. Yet by allowing you to see his real, unfiltered self, he's expressing something much deeper than words. This isn't a planned strategy or some clever relationship trick. It's simply how emotional connection often grows. As his feelings become stronger, his mind naturally looks for safe ways to create a deeper bond. Instead of making one huge emotional confession, he opens one small door and waits. If you respond with warmth and understanding, another door opens, then another. But if he feels judged, ignored, or emotionally unsafe, those doors can close just as quickly, and he may never feel comfortable opening them again. That's why these moments matter so much. They're rare. Men usually don't reveal this side of themselves to everyone. You may hear him quietly say something like, "I've honestly never told anyone this before," or "I don't usually talk about things like this." If those words ever come out, don't overlook them. That's not casual conversation. That's trust being built right in front of you. It's a quiet shift that says you're becoming someone important in his life. So if you notice him sharing stories that make him feel uncertain, exposed, or emotionally vulnerable, understand that it isn't happening by accident. Emotional closeness is beginning to grow. This is often his own silent way of saying, "I'm letting you into my world," without needing to speak those exact words. And believe me, what comes next may surprise you even more, because the following behavior is something almost everyone misunderstands. Have you ever casually mentioned something about yourself? Maybe a childhood memory, your favorite coffee order, a movie you love, or even a tiny habit, and then days or weeks later, he suddenly brings it up as if he heard it only yesterday? That usually isn't luck or coincidence. It's something much more meaningful. One of the strongest psychological signs that a man is deeply interested in you is the way his attention naturally becomes focused on you. When his feelings grow, his mind starts collecting the little pieces that make you who you are. Not only the obvious facts, but also the tiny details most people would never remember. He notices how you like your fries extra crispy, the nickname your family uses, the songs that instantly improve your mood, or the way your expression changes whenever you're overwhelmed. It's not because he has a perfect memory, it's because you have become important to him. Your words begin taking up space in his mind without him even realizing it. And here's the difference that matters. He isn't remembering these things just to impress you or earn compliments. He remembers because he's emotionally invested. Those details become tools for building a stronger connection. That's why he'll unexpectedly mention something personal you once shared, not to score points, but to remind you that he truly listens. Maybe you once mentioned loving sunflowers, and weeks later he casually sends you a sunflower emoji just because it made him think of you. Maybe you once admitted Sundays feel emotionally heavy, and now he checks in every Sunday without making a big deal about it. These aren't dramatic romantic gestures. They're quiet, thoughtful actions that show genuine emotional attention, and that's what makes them powerful. Most people miss the little things. Most conversations are forgotten almost immediately. But when a man deeply cares, your words stay with him. He begins seeing everyday life through memories connected to you. He passes your favorite restaurant and immediately thinks of you. He hears a song you mentioned and smiles without even noticing. Little by little, you become part of the way he experiences the world. This kind of thoughtful attention also builds trust, because every remembered detail tells you something important. It says your voice matters. It says he isn't simply hearing you while waiting for his turn to speak. He's fully present. In a world where so many people only half listen and forget conversations a few minutes later, this quiet consistency becomes one of the strongest signs that his feelings are becoming something real. Stay with me, because the next behavior may completely change the way you interpret his actions from now on. This level of attention is uncommon, and that's exactly why it carries so much meaning. When a man truly cares about you, he naturally wants to leave a different impression. He wants you to feel that he's not simply noticing your appearance like everyone else. He wants to understand the real person behind the smile, the personality, the habits, and the experiences that shaped you. What makes this even more interesting is that he usually knows when to bring those details back. He doesn't always mention them the moment you tell him. Instead, he quietly stores them away until the perfect time arrives. Maybe you're having a difficult day, and suddenly he reminds you of something you once said that showed your strength. Maybe you're doubting yourself, and he brings up an achievement you completely forgot about. Those moments aren't random. They show thoughtful attention. They reveal emotional awareness. They show someone who has been listening much more carefully than you realized. That's what genuine emotional investment often looks like. So if you ever notice that he remembers things about you that even close friends have forgotten, don't ignore it. Someone who is only casually interested may compliment your smile or your appearance, but someone who is emotionally connected remembers your stories, your fears, your victories, your quiet struggles, and reflects them back to you in ways that make you feel understood. That's the quiet strength of thoughtful attention. It's more than a habit. It's a small window into how much space you've already taken up in his heart. And here's something worth remembering. You can often learn far more about what someone truly feels by watching what they consistently do instead of only listening to what they say. Words can be carefully chosen. Actions usually tell the deeper story. Stay with me, because the next sign reveals something that people often overlook. Yet once you notice it, you'll begin seeing it everywhere. When a man is deeply attracted to you, his body often reveals feelings long before his words ever do. The human body has a remarkable way of expressing emotions that the mind is still trying to hide. One of the first things to notice is where his body naturally points. Even if he's talking with someone else, you'll often see his feet angled toward you or his shoulders turned slightly in your direction. His chest may naturally face you without him realizing it. That's because people instinctively orient themselves toward whatever feels emotionally important. It isn't something he plans, his body simply follows where his attention already is. Another powerful clue is physical distance. A man who feels emotionally disconnected usually keeps comfortable space between himself and others, but when he genuinely likes someone, that distance slowly becomes smaller. He'll stand just a little closer than necessary, lean in while you speak, or naturally choose the seat beside you whenever he has the chance. He may not immediately reach out to touch you, but his comfort in sharing your personal space quietly reveals his interest. Watch for the little adjustments he makes too. He may straighten his shirt, fix his jacket, smooth his hair, or improve his posture the moment you arrive. These tiny grooming habits happen almost automatically when someone wants to make a good impression. It's as if his body begins preparing before his thoughts fully catch up. Then there's eye contact, one of the strongest signs of all. If his feelings are becoming serious, you'll often catch him looking your way even when you aren't speaking. During conversations, his gaze may stay on you just a little longer than normal. Sometimes you'll notice his eyes briefly moving from your eyes to your smile while you're talking. These quiet moments often reflect curiosity, attraction, and a genuine desire to stay emotionally connected. And when your eyes finally meet, if his expression instantly softens or a natural smile appears without effort, that's usually a much deeper emotional reaction than people realize. His body also begins matching yours in subtle ways. He may take a sip of his drink right after you do, adjust his posture to match yours, or naturally mirror your movements without thinking about it. This isn't copying for attention. It's a quiet sign that his nervous system is becoming comfortable around yours. Even his hands can reveal what words never say. He may gently tap his fingers, rub the back of his neck, adjust his watch, or fidget with a ring whenever you're close. These small movements often come from emotional excitement rather than discomfort. They simply show that your presence affects him more than he expected. And perhaps the clearest sign of all is his smile. Not the polite smile people give everyone. Not the social smile. The real one that quietly appears when he watches you laugh, notices you walking into the room, or catches your eyes unexpectedly. Sometimes it only lasts a second before he tries to hide it, but those are often the moments when genuine feelings become impossible to control. So next time you're together, don't focus only on his conversations. Watch the quiet language his body speaks. It often tells the truth before his voice ever does. And if you know what to notice, you'll begin seeing countless little signs that reveal just how deeply he's already connected to you. His words may still be cautious, but his actions often tell the story much more clearly. And believe it or not, the next behavior is one of the biggest clues of all because it reveals how he quietly tests one important question before fully opening his heart. He isn't trying to play games. He's simply trying to discover whether it's emotionally safe to let you all the way in. This isn't about checking your loyalty or trying to make you emotional on purpose. It's much more natural and subconscious than that. When a man starts developing deep feelings for you, one question quietly runs through his mind. Can I truly be myself around her? Can I trust her with the parts of me I usually keep hidden? That's what he's really trying to discover. At first, these moments can seem confusing because they rarely look dramatic. He might make a light joke about something personal just to see how you respond. He may casually mention something a little more vulnerable than usual, then quietly pay attention to your reaction. Sometimes he'll share an opinion that isn't popular or admit to a small insecurity. He's not trying to surprise you or create conflict. He's simply wondering, will this part of me be accepted too? This is where many people misunderstand what's happening. When he suddenly becomes quieter, more thoughtful, slightly distant, or less focused on impressing you, it's easy to assume his feelings are fading, but in many cases, something very different is happening. He's slowly finding out whether it's safe to stop performing, whether he can relax, whether he can simply be himself without feeling judged. Emotional safety matters more than many people realize, especially for a man who genuinely wants something meaningful. Opening up emotionally often goes against everything he has learned about staying strong, staying independent, and always appearing in control. That's why even small moments of honesty carry so much weight. When he shares them, he isn't doing it carelessly. He's paying close attention to how those moments are received. Not because he wants to manipulate you, but because he's quietly protecting his heart. Sometimes he'll mention a difficult subject just to see whether you'll listen without criticizing him. Other times he may hint at an old disappointment or painful experience, not because he wants sympathy, but because he's wondering whether you'll see him differently afterward. These moments are usually so subtle that you may not notice them while they're happening. But if a man feels emotionally connected, he's almost always searching for signs that you can become a safe place where he doesn't have to hide. One of the strongest clues is when he begins showing emotions that he normally keeps away from everyone else. Maybe you see his frustration, uncertainty, sadness, or confusion in ways that his friends or co-workers rarely do. If he feels comfortable enough to let those emotions appear around you, you're seeing one of the most genuine parts of who he is. And if your response is calm, understanding, and supportive instead of critical, something important begins to grow. You don't simply earn more of his attention, you begin earning his trust. Stay with me because the next part explains why this emotional safety becomes one of the strongest foundations for lasting love. Another place this emotional process appears is in the way he responds to your boundaries. Every now and then, he may gently challenge a situation, not because he wants to disrespect you, but because he's quietly observing how you handle yourself. He's asking a deeper question without saying it aloud. Does she know her own value? Can she stand by what matters to her? A man who genuinely hopes to build something meaningful usually respects someone who can communicate clearly and stay true to themselves. That's why these small moments matter. They're less about winning or losing and more about understanding each other's emotional character. In a surprising way, these quiet interactions help him learn whether the relationship has the strength to grow. When you respond with honesty, patience, confidence, and kindness instead of fear or games, something begins to settle inside him. He feels a sense of comfort that can't be forced. That's the moment when emotional trust quietly starts taking root. If you notice him opening up, becoming a little more reserved for a while, then returning with another deeper conversation, don't immediately assume you're receiving mixed signals. Very often, he's simply moving at the pace his emotions can handle. He's learning that he doesn't have to hide every part of himself. And once a man discovers that he can be completely genuine around someone without fear of being judged, his feelings often become much stronger, because lasting love isn't built only on attraction or excitement. It's built on trust, and trust almost always begins with emotional safety. Now here's something even more important. Grand romantic gestures may catch your attention, but they aren't always what reveal someone's true intentions. The strongest sign usually appears much more quietly. It shows itself through consistency over time. Almost anyone can make a great impression during the first few weeks. Many people can be charming in the beginning, but the real question is, what happens after that excitement settles? Does he continue showing up? Does he continue listening, remembering, caring, and making an effort even after the newness fades? That's where genuine feelings become impossible to hide. And what comes next may be the clearest sign of all, so make sure you don't miss it.